All right, let's just jump right into this explainer. Today, we're deconstructing something truly iconic, Dave Bautista's legendary Boulder shoulders. Whether you know him from tossing guys around the WWE ring or as Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy, you instantly recognize that massive frame. That classic V-taper, it makes the waist look tiny and gives the upper body an absolutely unstoppable look. But how do you actually build that? Well, today we are going to look at the exact mechanics of engineering that V-taper. And spoiler alert, it all comes down to mastering one specific move, the lateral raise. So the obvious question pops up, right? Can you naturally build shoulders like Dave Bautista? We're answering that today by breaking down the science, the strict training principles, and the exact isolation movements you need. Because look, building shoulders like that is way more than just grabbing heavy weights and throwing them around. It takes a highly strategic mix of compound presses, pinpoint isolation, progressive overload, and seriously dialed-in nutrition. Let's look under the hood and see how this machinery actually works. To really get this, we have to look at the architecture of the shoulder. Think of it like a three-part puzzle. You've got three distinct heads to the deltoid: the front or anterior, the side or lateral, and the rear, which is the posterior. If you want true Boulder shoulders, you need perfectly balanced development across all three of those heads. Here's the trap, though. If you just spam pressing movements, you're going to overdevelop the front head and leave the others totally lagging. That completely ruins that rounded 3D aesthetic we're aiming for. Okay, so here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. While all three heads are incredibly important for overall joint health, hyper-targeting that lateral or side deltoid is your secret weapon for horizontal width. I mean, this is the muscle that literally sits right on the outer edge of your frame. When it grows, it pushes your shoulders outward, widening your entire silhouette and giving you that dramatic V-taper. Honestly, if you want to look wider in a t-shirt, the side deltoid is your golden ticket. Section 1. The secret to shoulder width: lateral raises. So how exactly do we target that side deltoid? Let's compare the two absolute best variations of this exercise. On one hand, you have your dumbbell lateral raises. These are your bread and butter, totally foundational for building overall width. But then on the other side, you've got cable lateral raises. Cables are amazing because they give you constant, unbroken tension on the side deltoids throughout the entire movement, especially down at the bottom where dumbbells kind of lose their resistance. Doing these one arm at a time gives you incredible control. Honestly, throwing both of these into your routine is a total game changer. But listen, there's a major catch here. To actually engineer this width without totally wrecking your rotator cuffs, you have to nail 3 non-negotiable steps. First off, you gotta lift with your elbows. Imagine your arms are just hooks. Second, keep a slight bend in your arms to protect those joints. And third, and this is the one almost everybody gets wrong, strictly avoid swinging the weights. I'm serious, if you have to heave your hips to get the weight up, it's too heavy. You're just taking all the tension off the side deltoid, which completely defeats the purpose of the exercise. Just to give you an idea of how crucial this specific exercise is, the Batista-inspired routine dedicates a grueling 5 sets of 12 to 15 reps exclusively to the dumbbell lateral raise. 5 sets, that is a massive chunk of volume for one highly targeted area. But the side delts respond incredibly well to this moderate to high rep range, assuming your technique is strict. It just pumps maximum blood and nutrients into the muscle to literally force it to grow. Section 2. The supporting cast, the Boulder shoulder routine. Okay, once you've got the lateral raises down for width, you have to surround them with heavy compound movements to finish off the overall shoulder. Check out the balance in this full routine. We start off with heavy overhead presses, seated dumbbells, and standing barbell presses for that raw foundational power and size. But then it balances out all that heavy pushing with a ton of pulling and isolation. We're talking rear delt flies, face pulls, front raises, and heavy dumbbell shrugs. It all works together to give you that thick upper body look. It really is a masterclass in comprehensive shoulder programming. Let's pause on a really important quote from our sources here. Rear delts contribute significantly to shoulder width and posture. Never forget the back of the shoulder. It's so tempting to just ignore the muscles we can't easily see in the mirror, but using reverse pec decks, cables, or dumbbells for rear delt flies is absolutely essential. Not only does it complete that capped 3D look, but it physically pulls your shoulders back. That maintains healthy joint mechanics and saves you from getting that hunched over posture. Now, you could execute that routine perfectly, but if you just do the exact same thing every single week, you won't grow. Period. Shoulders only grow when you gradually increase the demands you place on them. That's progressive overload. And it's not just about slapping more weight on the bar. You can do more reps, increase your total volume, drastically improve your technique, or even just cut down your rest periods. Tracking your workouts so you can push these specific metrics over time, that is how you force the muscle to adapt and widen out. Section 3, fueling and recovering muscle. Because here's the reality, you cannot build a massive V-taper in the gym alone. The gym is literally just where you break the muscle down. The actual growth happens when you fuel up and recover. This sample nutrition plan shows the kind of high-protein, nutrient-dense fuel you need. Notice how heavily it's structured around the pre- and post-workout windows. You've got fast-digesting carbs like bananas and rice cakes before training for immediate energy, then whey protein, white rice, and lean beef right after to halt muscle breakdown and kickstart protein synthesis. This is very purposeful eating designed specifically for high-volume hypertrophy. And then we rest. Think about it. Your shoulders are involved in almost every single upper body movement you do, from bench presses to pull-ups. They take an absolute beating. So you really have to leave 48 to 72 hours between intense shoulder sessions and follow these recovery protocols strictly. We're talking 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, dedicated stretching, foam rolling the upper back for mobility, and just letting the joint rest so it can rebuild larger than it was before. Section 4, common shoulder training mistakes. You have to be careful because the shoulder is an incredibly complex, vulnerable joint. Lifting for ego will derail your width-building goals instantly and probably leave you sidelined with a nasty injury. Good technique is always, and I mean always, more important than moving the heaviest weight possible. So avoid these common traps. Do not use excessive weight that forces poor form. Don't neglect your mobility. Don't skip warm-ups, and absolutely never train through sharp joint pain. And hey, doing partial reps just to say you lifted a heavier dumbbell, you're literally only cheating yourself out of the gains you're trying to get. If you are a beginner looking at a routine like Bautista's, listen up. You have to prioritize perfect technique with much lighter weights before you even think about going heavy. The lateral raise, especially, takes a profound mind-muscle connection. You have to actually feel that side deltoid doing the work. If you don't, your traps in your back will just take over, and your shoulders won't widen at all. I promise you, having a little patience right now will pay off exponentially later on. We also need to take a quick reality check regarding genetics. Your individual body structure, the width of your clavicles, where your muscles actually insert, all of these factors ultimately dictate your exact muscle shape and size. Yes, you can absolutely build significantly larger, broader shoulders, but it's just unrealistic to expect to look exactly like Dave Bautista or any other celebrity. The goal here is engineering the absolute best, widest version of your specific genetic blueprint. By zeroing in on disciplined, incredibly strict lateral raises instead of just heaving up the heaviest weights you can find, you really can engineer your own powerful V-taper. It all boils down to consistency, perfect mechanics, and leaving your ego at the door. So I want to leave you with this one thought. The next time you walk into the gym and reach for those dumbbells on the rack, ask yourself, are you lifting for ego or are you lifting for width?